Recently, you heard me speak on the idea of men finding and having purpose prior to engaging in what we term as matrimony or spiritual union or divine union. And you've heard me speak on the importance of a man having a mission and having a direction before he engages in the act of pulling a woman and children eventually, or maybe even initially, into his orbit without direction. So I spoke on that, how she finds direction and purpose within his, and, ultimately her delight should be in the advancement and the expansion and the manifestation of what it is that he has discovered as his purpose for being. And his delight becomes the act of witnessing and viewing the level of commitment and dedication that she places into what it is that he says he is striving to be or striving to do. So I was speaking on the documentary All Whores Go to Heaven that we're still currently working on. And there was a young man who had expressed some measure of confusion as to why I would embark upon a project like that. And of course, without knowing me, without knowing my history, without knowing my background, I suppose if you are of a certain personality type, it becomes easy to desire to assume or to superimpose an idea of what you think a Babalawo, an Awo, a priest, quote-unquote healer, messenger, Jegna, any title you see fit, what their life should be like and should have been like, and what goes on in their mind. And the only ones who will ever get close to my mind, even though never truly knowing me, are the women in my harem. That's it. They're the only ones who, at key times, need to know what it is that I might be thinking, what it is that I could be desiring, what it is that annoys me, and what brings me pleasure. No one outside of that needs to know anything other than what I'm being led to share, right? So the assumption can really be a vain spending of time. So the idea of whoring, I had expressed to the young gentleman as we were speaking, I said, you like so many others, are actually illegitimate whores, which is one of the reasons why the documentary is so vital. We're very quick to point at women and look down at our nose and say, oh, she's a whore, and without understanding what that is, or the difference between someone who's promiscuous versus someone who's a slut versus someone who's a whore, or someone who's a sex worker even. What is the difference? And they're worlds apart. But I had shared with him that ultimately, he's an illegitimate whore because he serves many masters with no direction. You know, a lot of us have heard the term attention whoring. I'm sure. Attention whoring. And of course, in the social media era, it's a pretty widespread phenomenon. There's something older than social media attention whoring, and that's information whoring, which of course becomes so much easier in the information age. Information whoring, where you meet individuals, and I do all the time, who tell me, I study this, I study that, I study that, I study that. They study everything. So they say. And then when I ask them, well, what is your purpose? What direction are you headed in? Always the same answer. I don't know. I'm just still trying to put it all together. Well, you're still trying to put it all together because you serve many masters. And you can't serve two masters. You'll love one and despise the other. I'm sure you've heard that piece of advice before. So those who engage in illegitimate whoring, male or female, they have conjoined themselves with multiple masters, but choose not to submit to any of them. And submission is the key, whether male or female, submission is the key. When I get males who come to me and want to learn, and want to be my student, quote unquote, like I say, I can count my students on one hand. A lot of times, the reason why they may be rejected or may not make it to full term is because they're seeking to serve multiple masters, and they want to receive the authority of each master. So they want to be able to say certain things, and when they're challenged, say, well, Baba Haru or Chief Yuya, depending on which country we're in, you know, he said it. You know, so they want a speck of that authority, and see, that's groupie activity. You know, the groupie, there's nothing worse than a male groupie. Nothing worse. A lot of times they want the authority without developing an authority base on their own, and that authority base comes from their connection to spiritual wisdom. And my work, connection with that wisdom, I connect them to it, but I'm not necessarily the source. That's why I say I'm not the healer, but I will channel healing. But the male groupie never really wants to truly learn, or the female groupie. They just want the clout or the authority. It's another word for that. So, information hoarding, or whoring, is when you're serving multiple masters intellectually, but submit to none. And of course, we live in a society that will pride you on that. Will tell you, yeah, you know, do your thing and be rebellious and don't listen to anybody. Just listen to yourself. So if you're just going to listen to yourself, there's no reason for you to join anybody's class, go to anybody's seminar, read anybody's book. Just listen to yourself. Don't come and steal information and then turn around and say you're self-taught. You're not self-taught. You're an information whore. And that's an illegitimate form of whoring. So that links into not having a purpose. When you have a purpose, one of the first things that happens is you submit yourself to it. And this is important for men because we talk about submission a lot when it comes to women. So I think on some levels, the women kind of, they have started practicing. And their natural position and role is submission. So it's not as difficult. But for men, we very rarely use the term submission. It's like it just skips past men. They don't think they have to submit to anything. Men submit to their employees all the time, their employers all the time. They submit to their community authorities all the time. But then when it comes to their spiritual intellectualism, they feel like they're beyond submission. If you're not submitted to your purpose and all of the healers, priests, and teachers who are helping you to discover, find, and exhume that purpose, then no woman will submit to you because you have not shown the energetic example of it. It's not coming off of your aura. If you have, then that means you've embarked on your purpose. And if you've embarked on your purpose, it makes it easier to find rhyme, reason, and purpose within your arms, or within your fold, within your orbit, within your cipher, within your harem, within your household. So men, you don't submit, she does not find her purpose. You don't submit, she can't submit. All right, back to work. Got to get back to work. I'm overseeing the erection of a shrine and the expansion of an Ile that I oversee. I have certain Iles that I actually oversee and serve as Babalawo for. It's a lot of work. But what better thing is there to do but for me to be enacting on my purpose? I can't think of anything better. All right. Peace. Chief Yuya out.